Hi guys, how's it going? Welcome to episode 2 of season 2 of Living Well. I'm so excited about our guest today. I'm also so excited that right after this Living Well episode, I will be hosting my first ever songwriting workshop, a 90-minute songwriting workshop with Adam Roa, artist and poet Adam Roa. You may know Adam from one of his poems going viral on YouTube over 200 million times. We're hosting a songwriting workshop to teach you guys how to write. I think writing is such an incredible gift, which is why I'm focusing on songwriters for the next month of Living Well. And today we have on one of my favorite songwriters in town. She's an American country music singer and songwriter, originally from Sterling, Kansas. She has topped the charts writing songs for Keith Urban, Miranda Lambert, Dan and Shay, Kenny Chesney, Florida Georgia Line, Lady A, the list goes on and on and on and on and on. She is so talented. She is president and CEO of the female-driven record label Songs and Daughters. She's an incredible mother, wife, friend, and all-around human. I am honored to write with her and call her a friend. She was a co-writer on Go To off Heart Theory. Please welcome our guest for today, Nicolle Galyon. Hey, girl.
Hi.
How are you?
Awesome. How are you?
So good. Thank you so much for wanting to do this.
No, thank you for having me.
So a lot of my fans know about you and are fans of you, but I kind of want to start from the beginning. Some people may not know that you were on The Voice. And so I want to start there. I want to start like way back in 2012, I think it was. Like, what was it like being on The Voice? Is Adam Levine as cool as he seems? Like, how much help did the coaches give you? Like, I want to know all about it.
Wow, that's so many things. It was an awesome experience for me. I have this weird thing in my personality where I'm drawn to the things that are way out of my comfort zone.
Yeah.
It's almost like, you know, when you go to the gym and they say like the thing you dread is the thing that you probably need to do.
Totally.
I don't know if I've taken that too far, but like performing live is truly my least favorite part of all of things that go into being a singer-songwriter or in the music business. So I guess I just got I had this weird thing of like, well, I guess there's no better way to figure out if you love this or hate this than to just go for it and just go be on The Voice. I never really thought to do something like that. They had actually reached out and I was kind of at a crossroads in my career where nothing was happening, and I thought, well, nothing's working and you've tried all these different things. Like, what do you have to lose? You might as well. And I think the big takeaway from doing The Voice was that you always have something to learn. Mm-hmm. Even if from any experience, I'd rather do something than do nothing. So yeah, now in hindsight, like The Voice was kind of the butterfly effect for everything, because I met our friend Ray Lynn through that show, and kind of in a roundabout way, that's how I really had a real relationship with Miranda for the first time. And so take The Voice out, everything kind of changes. But honestly, like behind the scenes, which is probably what everyone wants to know about, I have nothing but amazing things to say about everything from the producers to, you know, the coaches, which the truth is I wasn't on the show that long. I was only on a couple episodes, so I didn't really get to that point where I really had a relationship with Adam, you know, because I didn't make it that far.
Right.
But it was kind of, the show's been around so long now that there's like all these classes of people who have come through that show. And I was actually writing with Morgan Wallen recently and didn't realize that he was on Adam's team on The Voice.
No way.
And he and I don't really know each other that well, but we were like high-fiving. We were like, hey, we're like kind of like, it's like, oh, it kind of has that like, oh, you're from my alma mater, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, The Voice. Enough about that.
That is so funny. It's so crazy. I I hardly even knew that. Like, I think I remember reading that somewhere and I was like, oh my gosh, this is so crazy. We Were Us was your first number one.
Yes.
How did that change your world? Like, did you notice a complete difference as a writer in town with the way other writers looked at you, with, the level of respect that you're given? Was it a game changer?
Yeah, I think it was for my psyche. I think I had a lot of incredible people around me, including my husband, who had gone before me kind of in the business, and they could recognize that like this is about to happen for you. And so for a year or two before, and that was honestly like around the time I did The Voice, I was just like, I'm kind of like running out of evidence that I should keep doing this. But a lot of other people were like, no, it's about to happen. I can see what you can't see. And so I think fine, but it was just hard for me to believe that it could ever be real, that something could fully go like come into fruition like that. I just had a lot of almost and a lot of no's. As you know, like everything is, you're in the minority if you ever hear yes,
Yeah,
ever.
absolutely.
And
If something actually works, it's like, what?
so like I think for the biggest change for me was like how it changed my psyche, because once I saw something actually go from almost to an all the way yes to actually having a song that was a single as it was promised, and it was the right artist, and it did go number one, and it was something I was proud of, I was like, okay, I can now imagine this happening again. But up until that point, I knew that I was supposed to be chasing it, but I don't know that I ever really believed that it would happen.
Yeah,
So that was the biggest change.
for sure. Now, as far as like sitting in the writing room, I want to talk a little bit about the process. Like, what is the quickest song you've ever written?
Oh my gosh. The fastest song. I'm generally a pretty fast writer.
You are. I can vouch for that. And
I
it's
would,
incredible to watch your brain work and just how you just like tap into something and then you go with it.
no, I don't, there's 1,000 different ways to get the job done, or to land the plane, but um, I need to be pretty stimulated while I'm writing. And I think if things slow down too much and there's too much quiet time, then I think sometimes that creates space for doubt in the room and the other writers. Like it's kind of like if people get insecure, like when you get stuck in the middle of a verse and think, is this good anymore? Is it not gonna? So I just try to keep momentum, knowing that we can always go back and rewrite,
Absolutely.
but it's sometimes hard to get people back mentally back into it if you sit still too long on an idea. The fastest song, I mean, I don't know the number one fastest song I've ever written, but I've definitely written a lot. I mean, I would say like a lot of the songs that were the best in my life were really fast. I mean, Boy, my song Boy that Lee Bryce recorded. I mean, that thing like probably fell out in 30 to 40 minutes, and it just wrote itself start to finish. It wasn't even like a concept for a song. We just started line by line, almost like a journal entry, and it just turned into a song as we went. So Boy is one of them, I guess.
That's amazing. Are there any songs that you finished and immediately you knew, okay, this is something special?
I knew Boy was special, but I also knew that it was really personal, so I was biased to it.
Right.
Man, I mean, I always know if something is good, but I'm learning, even like right now, I'm in a season of learning. There's a difference between something being a great piece of work,
Yep.
great song, and there's a difference between that and it being a reactive, commercially viable hit.
Totally.
And I feel like I trust myself in knowing, is this, bad, better, good or great or incredible.
Yeah.
But I don't think anybody really knows like this song's going to impact the song as a hit, and because it's not until it is.
I know. And even as a writer, I always am just so careful to walk out of the room and be like, yeah, we wrote something awesome. Because I just, I don't know if I don't want to jinx it or whatever, but sometimes you don't know, and you're so close to it that it's hard to have that navigation. Are there songs that did better than you expected? For instance, like cuts that you got that you like didn't necessarily see coming, or
Yeah.
songs that have flown up the charts that you were like, whoa, I wouldn't have expected that to happen.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I felt that way about Tequila.
Seriously?
I knew that it was a good song, but I think, I would say Dan and Dan and Jordan, maybe they would disagree with me, but we knew we liked it. We knew it was good. But none of us were lying if any of us say we knew that it was going to be what it was, you know.
That's amazing. And I love stories like that so much, because I remember the first time I heard Tequila, I was just like, oh my goodness, this song is so special. Like, I was just so proud of you guys and so excited for you guys, and just watching it do its thing. It was just incredibly exciting from the outside in. That's amazing.
Thank you. No, if you ask me like what are all the songs, now if you ask me the opposite question, what are the songs that you thought were going to be bigger than they were? Now that is that's its own like
That's a
podcast.
long list. Yeah. Goodness, if we could actually predict the things that we think deserve a chance and for whatever reason don't get chances. As a songwriter in town, how do you decide who you like to write with? I know that you have people reaching out left, right, and center, and so there has to be a certain navigation in your brain, or how do you decide who to take chances on, or do you just let your publisher decide?
There's probably a lot of ways to answer that question, but for me, the most simple answer is curiosity.
Yeah.
I'm just a really curious person, and I think because I even surprise myself sometimes. Like I'll look at the things that I say no to, and then the things that I'll say yes to, and they don't always make sense on paper, because maybe you have an unknown artist that maybe isn't proven yet, and I might say yes to that, but then I'll say no to a proven artist, but that maybe I've even like had some success with a little bit, or gotten some cuts with, or had good experience. But sometimes like writing with people kind of has its season, and if I get to a point where I'm like, I know exactly what this is going to be, and it's not something that is kind of like keeping me curious, I find myself going like kind of just like bowing out or hitting pause. But I'm just loving right now writing with so many young, new people. And I can honestly say like some of the most gratifying moments that I've had and that I want to cultivate and have more of are getting to experience that first time rush of having a song on the radio for the first time with someone. That's, we only get that like one first time for ourselves. And for me, that was We Were Us. And I know you've had a number one at radio, and, and once it's, you only get to do that one time. But what I'm finding is that you can keep recreating that ride by getting to experience that with other writers that maybe that's their first time. It was so special to get to experience Tequila with Jordan Reynolds, because I had known Jordan for 10 years. He played violin in my wedding, and I knew him when he was a Belmont student. And then to get to be the one that like we got on stage at the ACM Awards together, I was like, this wouldn't be what it is if I didn't have that personal relationship with you. So I think that's more of what I'm trying to cultivate, is investing in people that are more on the come up, because then I get to just come up with them and they keep me inspired, and I get to, and, they're hungry and excited and fresh, and I just don't want to get jaded,
Absolutely.
That said, I'm writing with so many of my peers that I've come up with, and that's never, there's so many people that I'm still curious. I don't know what the day is going to be, even if we've written 200 songs.
Yeah, absolutely. How many days? I mean, obviously in COVID, everything's crazy and Zoom writes are a different thing altogether, but how many days a week do you write? Do you have like rules that you allow yourself, or space that you create? Do you ever write just by yourself?
I don't write by myself ever.
Really?
ever. I will say, I mean, it's probably been, I don't know, at least 10 years since I've written 100%er.
That's so awesome.
I think it's that curiosity. It's like, like I feed off the unknown and the micro nerves that happen right before, right? I wouldn't even say I'm nervous. It's just this micro anxiety that of like, we don't know what's about to happen here and we're just showing up anyway. And I just love everything about that. But my schedule, I would say right now is, because we're in my hometown, we're living in my hometown in Kansas. Here's my Kansas house. Say hi. This week.
I love your Kansas house.
You're one of the few people from Nashville that's been here.
I know, it's such a slice of heaven. It's so, so, so special.
It's so normal here. And I mean that in the most complimentary way ever.
Yeah.
But I'm writing like on Zoom, probably, I'm trying to not do more than like 3 days of Zoom writes a week.
Yeah.
Mainly just mentally, I get fried on the Zoom. If I was in Nashville, I would probably write a little bit more than that.
Yeah.
But as you know, and same goes for you, like we have other things going on that we're working on outside of just writing. So I need to keep, I'm working every day. It's just not always writing a song.
I definitely know that feeling. Do you ever plan on putting anything out yourself?
It's interesting that you asked that. I literally used to get low-key seizure at the thought of putting out my own anything. But I do think, I'm getting a little bit older and I'm definitely living by the if not now, when mentality. And I also think the business is changing. Like people are just being way more fluid and creative about just creating music, you know? It's not just like major label artists put out a 12-song album every 2 years. It's just it's just music, and it's coming from writers. So I will, gosh, this is a kind of a bold statement, but if I hit the end of my life and I never did that, I would not feel good about that.
I get it.
And I think until I'm 80, I promise I will do it at some point.
I think there's so many songs that don't get to see the light of day that, that are so special and just for whatever reason fall through the cracks. Mm-hmm. And maybe you could bring them to life in that way.
Yeah. And I would love to, songs take on a life of their own after a songwriter like me writes them, and then they kind of evolve and transform. But to me, I'm still kind of married to that, that beta version of the song, the 1.0. So I would love to do that when the time is right.
Watching you sing Tequila on the piano is one of the coolest things. It gives me chills.
You're very intuitive to ask that. It's definitely an idea that's bouncing in my mind. I just want to be wise and not do everything at the same time. Everything has its time. And I'm also not in Nashville as much this year. So it kind of feels like maybe it's once we move back to Nashville, it seems more feasible. Unless calling all producers, if you'd like to come and set up camp in Sterling, Kansas, we can make a record.
Hey, you can do stuff remotely. I finished my record remotely. I mean, you are somebody I look up to in town because you do constantly have so many projects on the go and you're so business minded, and I look up to that. You inspire me, and you opened up your own female focused record label called Songs and Daughters. You are getting to lift up incredible artists and writers, and I want to know what inspired you to start that.
You know what? Honestly, it was just my friend, Seth England, who's kind of been a brother in the business. It wasn't even an inspiration. It was more of just a question, do you want to do this? Would you ever want to do this? And I probably had just enough wine in the moment to not get in my own way. And I really spoke from my gut. And I remember where we were at Kane Prime, and he was like, I think you should have your own label. We need to give a formal name to something that you're already doing. You're helping develop and, and nurture some of these projects along softly and quietly behind the scenes, but why don't you just give a name to it? And I was like, yes, this is exactly what I need to do. And I never knew that. So And I even remember in the moment, like I was like hugging myself, rocking back and forth. I felt like I was a child. I was like, oh my gosh, this is so true. So, I am, as you are, and you know this probably even better than I do, so many times, just because of the nature of our business, we're the only girl in the room. And I love working with guys, but I truly am, like, I am a girl's girl. Like, especially after I became a mom, I need women in my life. So I know that, like, the headline for starting a record label probably appears like, oh, I'm helping them, but really I'm just trying to I'm probably doing it more to create space for myself, to get to nurture myself in that way, to get to work with women that I want to just help give a voice to. That's honestly like all a songwriter is. We're like a service. We help you say what you want to say, whoever it is. And the label is just a bigger version of that.
I totally agree. And talking about that specifically, like having written with you a number of times, you are so good at helping me say what I want to say. But do you get like a sense of therapy through writing? You write with different artists every single day and hear their sob stories, their celebration stories, their jealousy stories, their ups and downs, their pains, like you hear it all, and then you help craft it into this beautiful 3-minute piece of art. But does songwriting let you kind of feel a deeper therapy? And how do you find that, like, writing other people's stories into a song?
Well, I think sometimes it's like, I think in songwriting we are, well, really, like in all really close relationships that are intimate, we kind of become each other's like human diary kind of, or human journal. Like, you're my journal. This is my safe space that I get to try out an idea that maybe I don't feel safe going out in the world, but in the writing room, you get to bring in a couple pages of your diary metaphorically and go, let's put it on the table. And sometimes, some days we use yours and some days we use mine. But I truly think that, like, most life experiences, if it's happened to me, or it's probably happened to someone else. So, and I find it is therapy for you to bring a story about your life, and bring it in the room, and you think that it's about you. You think the song you're writing is about you, but what is usually happening is everyone's in an effort to connect in the writing process is inserting their own life experience into it. And I think that's what makes co-writing so much better for me and so much more fulfilling, is going, oh wow, we're really like our life experiences are collaborating here, and we're making something from everyone's life experience. So yeah, I'm getting like free therapy every day. Well, more than that, I'm basically getting paid to have therapy.
Amen to that. Amen to that.
That was some of my best friends.
I know, it's one of the best jobs in the world. Well, thank you so much for coming on Living Well. I appreciate you so much. I love creating and writing with you, and I'm so jealous you get to hang out in Kansas most of this year, but I can't wait to actually hug you in person whenever we can make that happen. I appreciate you so much, Nicolle. Thank you.
Well, thank you for having me. And before I go, I just want to say that you are the most solid human being and the easiest person in town to cheer for. And I love your record. I have listened. It is the best thing that you've ever done, in my opinion, or at least it's my favorite thing that you've ever done. And my mom is straight up super fan.
Your mom is the best.
She's the best. And we have jammed to your record on the porch, and it's truly so good, and it lives in its own space. So I'm proud of you, and bravo. Thank you for having me.
So much. We will see you soon.
Bye.
Bye. I am so happy that Nicolle could join us. In a few minutes, I will be hosting my first ever songwriting workshop with Adam Roa. The link is below. If you are not doing anything for the rest of the evening, come join us. I am so excited to be able to teach you the gift of songwriting, to teach you the ability how to tap into your own emotions and express them. I have found such a deeper level of healing through a lot of things that have happened through my life, through being able to write about them and being able to write songs. So please join us. It's called Write from the Heart. It starts in a few minutes. The link is below. Hopefully we'll see you guys there in a little bit. But first, it is time for the Wellisms of the week, where we focus on positivity, because There's a lot of chaos going on in our world right now, so here are the Wellisms of the week. The 2020 Nobel Peace Prize has been awarded to the world's largest humanitarian organization that feeds the hungry. The World Food Programme, WFP, won the award for its efforts to combat hunger and bettering conditions for peace in conflicted areas. In 2019 alone, WFP provided assistance to close to 100 million people in 88 countries, most of whom suffered because of war and armed conflict. WFP, we applaud you. That is truly, truly remarkable. This past week, actually, I was able to volunteer at a place called The Store in Nashville. Kimberly Williams Paisley, Brad Paisley's wife, Kim and Brad started this place called The Store that is really helping to give back to Nashville and to make sure that, homes who need assistance getting food right now, especially throughout this year and COVID, that they have the ability to do so. So myself, Cassidy Pope, Kaylee Hammock, the three of us volunteered. We got to go check out the store, and it's just amazing to be able to give back to your local community. So I would urge you, as just a small PSA, to see what you can do to help out in your own town. All right, Wellism of the week, number 2. 9-year-old miniature horse Bon Jovi, nicknamed Bonnie, was rescued from an abusive home and adopted by Jessica Cheeman 4 years ago. Bonnie now lives with Jessica and her 2 French bulldogs, Lola and Nacho, in their home in Cape Town, South Africa. The animals have become the closest of friends. They spend their days playing together, enjoying each other's company, and as a Wellism, just to make you smile, watch this. All right, Wellism of the week, number 3. 27-year-old grad student Brittany Woodrum has raised over $85,000 for COVID relief for climbing all of 58 of Colorado's 14ers. 14ers are mountains that have elevations over 14,000 feet or more. They're considered some of the toughest climbing destinations in North America. Woodrum only took 78 days to climb all of the 58 peaks with the goal of raising funding and awareness for families who lost everything as a result of this global pandemic. As word spread of her efforts, she was able to raise over $85,000 in a matter of weeks. Brittany, you are remarkable. We're applauding you. Well, guys, that is episode 2 of season 2 of Living Well. I'm so happy we're back. I'm so happy we're focusing on songwriting. And please join us. If you are not doing anything, in a matter of minutes, I think we go live at 8 p.m. Central. The link is below. Please join us for my first ever songwriting workshop. It's called Write from the Heart. Hope to see you there. Bye.